righty, well, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. Let's go ahead and jump right into it here. So yesterday, what did we talk about? Let's go ahead and zoom back to the open here. In fact, I'm going to have to bring this vertical line over. Give me 1 second. And bring it out to the 10th for yesterday. So the main idea yesterday was that we did expect the market to continue to push. In fact, what we had there is a line in here that is causing trouble. I can't figure out what it is. It might actually be this. Yeah, I don't know what happened here, but it's not allowing me to look at this correctly. But this happened this morning. Again, it seems like every once in a while, NinjaTrader just doesn't work the way it typically does. The expectation, and I'm going to pull up the 60-minute chart here, is for the market to push yesterday. When we came into the open, we were talking about seeing this really nice, and again, I don't know why all of a sudden this morning it's not zooming the way it usually does. But as we came into the open yesterday, we said, look at this perfect bullish divergence forming on the hourly chart from our overnight low. And I told you there were some things off of the highs of that overnight session that could lead to a deeper pullback. But if the bulls could hold above that overnight low right there that made that double bottom, we would have a pretty good bullish signal there. And everything else was really pointing for the bulls. And sure enough, there is your bullish push from yesterday. So we got it right once again. Not going to be right every morning, but pretty good call yesterday. And so this is what happened in fine detail on the 512 chart. Notice what happened at the beginning of the open. We parried back and forth between our two roadmap areas, right? We had our scaffolding, which once again held nearly to the tick. We had the pullbacks right to VWAP. We did have to get one of those little deeper ducks through VWAP, only to probably take some of those longs out that were sitting there and then go ahead and hold it and start the bounce. So pretty good price action right inside of our pocket of expected resistance and support. And then we get the breakout holding the FNA the whole way up. Interestingly enough, we get a pullback right off of our first expected resistance zone up here, right around 4,400. On the pullback, we hold the 200 to the tick for the bounce. And then we come up, and the high of the day was our next expected resistance area. So we expected there to be trouble right around 43.98 to 4,400. Again, maybe not the most sexy thing. It did hold for a micro pullback, got a little messy, and then we continued the pop. Again, it pulled back right to the 200. There is that textbook setup with a beautiful 512 divergence right there. You know, if you were watching this in real time, there's your textbook pullback into the 200 with a bullish pattern. And again, never came back. You could have grabbed another 10, 20 points right into the next expected resistance area. And again, like I said, the high of the day, right off of our next expected resistance area. And then we got the pullback, held the 200, tried to come up and break out even more. And then the whole thing failed from there. Interestingly enough, when the market sold off, where did we find our next strong rotation? Right off of this pocket, right around 43.98. That was our scaffolding right there. Got a little micro bounce, pull back, and then we held VWAP. Now, in many cases, we come right into VWAP, or we come right into it a couple ticks and we bounce. In this case, it was one tick in front of it. And that's just how it works sometimes. Same thing off the back end of the 200 here. I think just one tick in front of it for this pullback. And then at the end of the day, just went sideways. And you can see still holding our scaffolding nearly to the tick on many of these rotations, despite it being a very choppy market at the end of the day. And then as you can see at the end of the day, we held and held, got a little peek through, held, and then that was it. That's how the market closed. And even interesting here, I mean, just to kind of show you how well these scaffolding levels work, we got this beautiful, we were holding it and holding it and holding it. And then once it got through, it actually held it here for a pullback to the 200. Once it got through, it pulled back and then held it for the bounce, right? And then once we got back below, it then held again the back end of that area twice. and then we came down lower. In fact, it held right at the extreme of the pocket, right at 43.98. So again, very easy day yesterday, if you ask me. You could have been buying the pullbacks at once the market actually broke out. Remember, out of the open, we said if the market can't get through the overnight highs, we do have some clues that would give us some good expectation for a pullback. But if the bulls recover from this little micro pullback in the overnight session and we don't break that low, there's the double bottom. Whoops. There's the double bottom right there. If we don't break that low, then we were expecting, and the bulls can get through that overnight high, we were expecting the breakout. And so you had opportunities, you had your pullback to the 200, you had pullbacks to the FMA, and then if you were looking to be a counter trend trader, you could have shorted the back end of both of these areas. And in this case, you wouldn't have gotten much. In this case, you would have gotten a huge sell-off at the end of the day, midday there. So, and then you could have took profit right at the VWAP where we expect the market to hold for bounces. And it would have been basically, you would have sniped the high of the day and the major low at the end of the day. So in my opinion, very easy day, some great opportunity, which brings us here into the overnight session coming into this morning. And as you can see, the bulls have held the market above 50% of the day before. And then again, like a stair step or a ladder, we've held the close. We held 50% of the day before. We popped up and then pulled back, and now we're stepping up to, and again, like I said, like this stair step, holding the close, holding the 50%, and now pulling back and holding the holy orange power level, and then even more so, now we're holding the VWAP and continuing to progress higher here, right? So some bullish action here in the overnight session, and that brings us into our pre-market for this morning. So I did send out our Excel file here for this morning. So just to give a sneak peek here, we've got it up. S&P Roadmap, Wednesday, October 11th. I sent it out in the subscriber room. We've got some Fed speak throughout the day, and then the FOMC minutes being released at 2 p.m. Eastern, right? And then we can go through all of these things that we have on here. So first thing to note is monthly hasn't changed, right? So the monthly, we have a bearish signal from July's high, and that's what led to the whole sell-off, right, through July and August, and now coming into July, August, September, now coming into October. This whole monthly signal has getting follow-through, but now we're getting that bullish potential building from the low. So